to this day, I feel weird eating pepperoni on my pizza. Why? Because if you ate pork, back then you were a sucker. You know what I mean? Like, or you hid that shit. Like, if you listen to East Coast hip hop,
not our generation, brother.
I was gonna say. By the way,
the '80s ran a train on y'all.
Yeah, because we were going nuts.
If my pepperoni wasn't there, I was pissed.
Yo, Stuffed Crust just came out. Everlasting omnipresence is my present state of being seen the unpleasant. Sight of righteous souls, live like peasants. The mind stunts growth in adolescence. Welcome, little mamas and Gentiles alike, to another phenomenal episode of My Momma Told Me.
Yo, you ain't crazy. The podcast where we dive deep into the pockets of black conspiracy theories.
And we finally work to prove whatever it is we're doing here today. You know what that's from?
What?
You ever listen to that Quincy Jones album, Back on the Block?
Yeah.
Whoa.
In the early 90s.
Yes.
Cool Mo D's part on that song.
Wow, that's a deep cut.
Yeah. I used to play that when I was a little kid. I don't think it really means anything, but I was a kid. I used to listen to that shit over and over.
You know who I thought it was going to be? Like Pharaoh Monk.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
that does feel like that.
There's a lot of the same rhyme with words bigger
I
each
thut it was
time.
from X-Clan.
No.
That's a good answer, too.
But everybody was on that, especially anybody who was New York-based at that time.
Right.
What year did that album come out? Is that 1990?
Maybe 91.
It's around there. Yeah.
That was the kind of rap that, as a kid from the West Coast, I thought everybody in New York was smart. You really, just like the whole, just like early 90s New York rap, I was like, these geniuses.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
That's funny.
Yeah. And then
Were you into King T?
No. Like Sway and King Tech?
Yeah. Wait, who's the guy who did Fuck Compton? Who is that?
I don't know who that is.
I'm thinking about King T. Am I making that up? Is there
No,
not a rapper
you know
named
what's
King
funny?
T?
I recently spent a little time with Twista, and Twista was talking about King T.
Yeah,
Is he
King
from
T.
Chicago?
He was a West Coast rapper out of Compton. Okay.
Yeah. He was Twista named King T as one of his
Big influences?
Early
Really?
influences.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
You know what I've been thinking lately?
Yeah.
Man, the fact that all AI influencers are starting out black feels like some sinister way for them to control the culture.
It's real nasty shit.
It feels like the worst shit coming out. Have you
Who
seen these?
Who are the AI influencers? I don't think I know this.
Ooh, it's gonna upset you.
Oh my gosh! Wait, we're saying these are like fake. Like it's like a Timbaland's thing, right?
Yes.
But not a musician. Like it's just like a fake black woman who's like goes to McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And she talks about like an argument she got in at work. And like, oh, this is a funny thing that happened to me, but like, she's not real.
No, I saw one where it was supposed to be a black female soldier celebrating the ceasefire of Iran and Israel. And she was like, blessed be the peacemakers. And like, she's got all these like other soldiers, mainly white, like cheering behind her. And of course it turned out it was fake. It wasn't a real soldier.
Yeah.
They want a black cosign so bad on this shit.
It does a lot of work for them.
It
really
it takes
pushes
a lot of their to-do boxes.
That's why they're going to such lengths. There's a lot of water to make that shit.
Man,
it's a lot of water to make these.
Man, one of them Diamond and Silk died, and they're like, we need a replacement.
There is a hole in our roster.
We lost Diamond.
I don't give a fuck about the salary cap.
We need a forward, damn it.
Yeah, Diamond was definitely a power forward as far as
I don't even know if she's the dead one, but yeah, whatever.
The other one's Silk?
Diamond or Silk, they did.
One of them died.
One of them died.
You ever think there's like a Diamond and Silk who are just like stripping out of a club in Houston? Like, damn, I hate them.
Oh, right. That Diamond and Silk wasn't originally like somebody had made that combo before.
It can't be the first time
combination has come together.
No, not at all.
Yeah, Diamonds on Silk sounds exquisite.
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
As I will say Silk, I always have some trepidation. I'm too fat for Silk. Yeah, it's hot. It's hot.
Silk has hurt you.
Yeah. I had some Silk boxers at the time, and it's like, man, you don't even go up to 2XL then.
Yeah.
You know?
If this is what it's gonna do.
This is what it's gonna be like.
Are you a Silk guy? Do you enjoy it?
I never really thought about it before.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to say that I don't know enough about them to know which one passed, but I do know that that cosign is so important. You know, like and Candace Owens was their cosign for a long time, but then she went off.
She went rogue.
She went rogue.
She started acting
a little
up.
bit, and so
arguably back to her roots.
Arguably, yeah.
She's still being a dick about it, but she's pretending she's on black people's. It's scary. It's all very
She's
scary
a little,
to me.
yeah. I mean, like it's weird times. Obviously, I don't want to get into anything too timely because we want this to be an evergreen broadcast. But like,
we do.
It's a really weird.
Write that down. That's a good idea.
Did I just podsplain? I feel bad about that.
That's a good. I want them to consume it this week and not think about it again.
No, that's true. No, I was just gonna say, like, you know, it's just weird. I'm still from that old school, you know, crew that thinks that, like, you know, you gotta like look out for your folks. But I guess a person like Candace thinks that that's exactly what she's doing.
Yeah, or at least has created an illusion where she pretends that that's what she thinks. We haven't even introduced you yet.
Yeah, no, I've just been talking.
No, and that's how we prefer it. Frankly, it works better when y'all just jump in rather than look at us be idiots for as long as we can sometimes be. But our guest today, we couldn't be more excited that he's here.
We couldn't be excited.
We couldn't be excited. This sucks. This sucks that he came. We invited him.
We thought he wouldn't show up.
But we put some nasty messages in that invite.
I never read it. Too long, didn't read.
He's phenomenal. You know him as one of the creators of Southside. You know him as one of the creators of Sherman Showcase, my former boss. My nemesis on screen, if
yes,
nothing.
I do love that. I do love that. We have that legacy.
We will always be
Alan Gale.
Yeah, and Adam Bethune facing off.
Hey, Bethune! Can I ask you guys, because you're in the room now, that Bethune is such a specific last name. Does that come from a person that someone knew?
We could talk about that.
I knew it was too.
I know his answer, but he won't admit his answer, and I only know his answer because Bashir eventually broke and gave me the answer of where this original character came from.
It's too specific. It's too specific in a way that feels real. You know what I'm saying?
I know the exact source of this character.
Can't wait.
But, you know, like it says at the end of all credits, you know, none of these characters are based on living
No, of
people.
course. And I believe everything I read after TV shows.
You have to, man.
He, and most importantly, hosts a brilliant podcast called One Song. Give it up for our guest, Mr. Diallo Riddle.
City boy!
Yeah.
City boys up. Let's do it.
For now.
Neck and neck. Tie game. Now, thanks for being here. I really... like I'm...
that was crazy.
Thanks for being here.
No, but thanks for being here because I read those nasty messages and I did think for a second, you know what? I'm going to show up and it's going to be a locked up building on... You know, it's a shady street. It's very short.
No, there's a lot of...
Don't know the backstory on... I imagine it's probably racist, but that's...
Maybe don't say the street name anymore. Our fans are unhinged. It's like a problem.
They're mostly drunk.
I've had a lot of memories on this street that may not go named because I used to... Well, I can't talk about it. Anyway, let's go.
No, it's okay.
Let's go.
Okay.
Diallo, you came to us with 2 conspiracies today.
Yes.
We're going to start with the first one, and then we'll find our way to the second one, I think, is the natural segue that I've imagined.
Well, let's talk about it because, you know, I got so much love online for my last appearance on this show.
You came on and you put your fist down and
I
you said,
I don't think Michael Jackson had inappropriate... I think he had inappropriate relationships with his kid. I don't think he was having sex with them. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of people came out of the woodwork like, oh man, you must be a part of the Illuminati. Yeah. Like, you know, people just thought I was
Brother,
like...
you sick.
Yeah. You had those freak-offs. We didn't know about the freak-offs yet. But see, that was I wish we could have done that episode back then.
The freak-offs were huge.
Because, no, seriously,
How come nobody ever thinks about vaginal intercourse for the Illuminati?
Whoa.
I think they get bored with traditional sex. But
anal's still pretty traditional.
This
isn't a hell of a
nowadays. This is your Iwo Jima. No, can I just say, my college roommate was Ryan Leslie. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa.
The producer. Yeah. And I remember he was like the first creative person that I ever met who had millions of dollars off of just being creative.
Right.
And at the same time, I would be like, oh man, what's it like, like working at like the highest level? He was like, well, you got to remember, I worked for Puff. Like I could see the stress come over his face just for saying like, okay. Well, I worked for a guy. And that was about the time I was like, you know what? It's a bad sign when everybody you worked with, every single person you work with, you've had a major falling out with.
Yeah.
And the one person who you didn't have a major public falling out with died in front of the Peterson Museum. You know what I'm saying? Like
on one of the busiest streets LA has to offer.
Absolutely. It's
like
just,
truly in retrospect, an insane place for a person to get murdered.
There was more traffic on that street back then. I feel like the whole Mid-Wilshire area was kind of popping back then. Like when you first moved to LA, you got an apartment on Mid-Wilshire, and then you would go shopping at the Beverly Center. Like our center of gravity, especially for black folks, was very different back then.
Right.
Fat Burger was still popular. We didn't really fuck with In-N-Out. So you go to the Fat Burger that used to be right by the Beverly Center.
Okay.
This is like 99 shit. You
Okay,
know what I mean?
okay.
Like when I first moved out here. So
Yeah. Diallo, your first conspiracy that you came with today.
I got so many.
You said, my mama told me.
The music industry decided gangster rap would replace the militant sound of Public Enemy and X-Clan.
As a hip hop fan in the late 80s and the earliest 90s, you couldn't miss the fact that hip hop had become, as Chuck D said, the CNN for black people. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a time when and a lot of our earliest political views were formed in this, concoction made of like Bomb Squad hip hop production beats. Yeah. And like the furious sort of like, I'm going to let you know. It was a very sort of preacher style of rap that Chuck D became famous for.
Right.
You were learning a lesson.
You were learning stuff, man.
You knew it. We're heading for self-destruction.
KRS-One was huge. X-Clan was huge. Like we were getting at, you were just quoting Kool Moe Dee. Like everybody, especially on the West Coast in the late 80s, really was coming up with this very pro-black vibe that you felt like was born in Harlem on 125th near Shrine 7. You know what I'm saying? Like even people who weren't known for like necessarily political rapping, like the Far Side, they're like, if there's pork in your bowl, it's Jigaboo time. What? It's Jigaboo time. Like think about it. Like, and like Wu-Tang and Tribe and all of them were like 5%ers. It was a different time in hip hop, but it wasn't a long time in hip hop. I would say from like, maybe 88 when It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. People forget Yo Bum Rush the Show by Public Enemy. I think that's 86 or 87. It wasn't, it had some of that political stuff, but it wasn't like the driving force. It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. Right. With songs like, I got a letter from the government the other day. I read it, said they were suckers, From that album, I would say all the way until The Chronic. There was that strain.
What's that, 5 years?
That's only like 4 years, I would argue.
Chronic came out in 92?
Chronic came out, I want to say either late 91 or like April 92. But
so
I
do you think the West Coast killed hip hop?
I don't think it killed it, but I do think that the shiny production of Dre, as opposed to the almost cluttered. See, here's what's interesting: the cluttered production of the Bomb Squad. It was like people made a choice, and the choice was G-Funk, clean production. Like it changed overnight. And I feel like I was the perfect age to witness that change because, and I hope I'm not being low-witted here, but when I did an episode of our podcast with Questlove and we were listening to the Bomb Squad production, one of the 30-year-old producers on our show was like, man, there's no bass in this. And I was like, wow, you're right. Public Enemy didn't really have like, it was bass for like a beat up Sony Walkman.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was a lot more about like the snare than it was the bass.
Yeah.
Chronic came out. Everybody was at Allen Ed's trying to put woofers in their trunk. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because the bass, that 808, I always said the 808 is like a black man's massage.
And
you know what I mean? It's like those chairs that you used to see at like the car wash that you would like put a quarter in and you get a massage. Like
that
you would feel
massage.
it was warm, it was comforting.
Yeah.
As a friend of mine once said, when you hear that 808, the conversation's complete.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. And you're saying that was a conscious choice to sort of like make this shift, or at least a subconscious one that they then accepted at large.
Well, look, I think it can go one of two ways. My brother, who's older than me, loved Public Enemy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be talking a lot about my brother, Tony, in this episode, because he's the person who sort of, maybe more than my mama, introduced me to both of these ideas.
Yeah.
And he never got into like gangster rap. He never really even got into like Mobb Deep and like the East Coast version of whatever gangster rap was, like the bad boy sound. He never got into that. He loved Public Enemy for his political message. We would often get into debates because he was like, I think they decided, look, we can't have black people feeling like this militant is definitely like, you got to remember culturally, Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing comes out. Fight the Power is like a number one jam in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and then literally in about 18 months, it didn't even feel like 2 years, 18 months later, it's The Chronic, it's Dr. Dre, it's like Snoop. I used to take the point of view that people like this music more. And Music in Our Message, which was another Public Enemy album, or Can't Trust It. Like, I felt like they lost the youth, they lost the sound, they lost the ears. And this other stuff was just more aesthetically pleasing. It didn't have the political message, at least not stated the same way.
Where do you put N.W.A. in this timeline then?
Well, okay, so here's what's interesting. N.W.A., I would say, sort of started to blow up in like 1988. Okay. So there are two trains running at the same time. On the East Coast, you've got everybody from Kool Moe Dee to Public Enemy. Like, you've got KRS-One, a big factor in all this.
Right.
X-Clan. They're all Poor Righteous Teachers. They're all on one thing.
Right.
On the West Coast, the dominant force is N.W.A. Right. And I'll never forget the first time I heard N.W.A. It was the one white guy at my high school who was really into N.W.A. And we had to ride to the science fair together. He's like, yo, listen to this. And I remember, Eazy, or Ice Cube, we all said, fuck you, bitch, and kept going. I was like, what the hell what are we listening to? But he was really into it. And I found out once I got to college, I was like, yo, N.W.A. had tons of white fans. Like, it definitely had like its street thing. But like most of the black kids, I went to a school that was pretty much 100% black. We had 3 non-black students. We had Joel. We had
crazy
Tran,
start.
we had Tran Lee.
Okay.
And we had Jorge Ramos. And I remember...
You know what's crazy? I assumed the 3 were going to be white. That's on me.
No, we had a United Nations of
too.
non-black students, 3 out of like 600 kids at our school. And it just so happened that Joel was one of the biggest N.W.A. fans.
I think we know why. I think that's a survival technique. Was he going to be mad at y'all the whole time?
He was surrounded.
This nigga's scared and alone. He's got to find a way to bond.
And C-Ran makes him feel powerful. He needs to feel strong.
He had something to rebel against, and he found his voice of rebellion. Now, what was interesting?
Y'all are right. Whitey is the devil.
Where was your school?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, so do you feel like it was similar things on the West Coast where the music was coming out of?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Like, because you're talking about like, it just feels like regional more than it feels like a direct effort to like, you know what I mean? They were gangbanging out here. That's like what they were on, right?
Yeah, there was something in the sauce in LA. I mean, like there were rappers like King T who I feel like were trying to get on that X-Clan boat. You know what I mean? Like if you go back and listen to some of his stuff, people forget that when Ice Cube eventually leaves N.W.A., what's the first thing he does? He gets the Fruit of Islam to become his bodyguards, and he releases, I believe it was America's Most Wanted. He got on the militant train. You know what I mean? Like that was his way of sort of stepping away from what Eazy and the rest of them were doing. If they were doing sort of like an apolitical, this is street life, Ice Cube was doing, fuck you, Ice Cube. Like he was taking on the man. You know what I mean? So
yeah, he really shifted like fuck the police into political sort of like jargon, not just like survival technique.
And by the way, the guys, my core group of friends who were all into Public Enemy at the time, Ice Cube was our West Coast rapper when he made that transition, because he's like, oh, see, now the West Coast is about to get like, what they're doing out here. By the way, we're in Atlanta. Atlanta doesn't really have a scene, a hip hop scene.
Yeah, right.
Like everybody at our school basically had to make a choice. You either listen to West Coast or West Coast adjacent stuff. Like there was Pooh Man out of Texas, I think. You know what I mean?
I was wondering, were you guys into Texas stuff? Like
there were
coming out of Port Arthur.
There were two constituencies. There was the people who listened to Scarface and West Coast, or you were like my clique, which was like Poor Righteous Teachers, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul. You know what I mean?
But there was no like regional scene yet in a real way.
We had Y'all So Stupid, which was a group that is long,
I'm in.
Hey, listen, go back and listen to Y'all So Stupid. Not bad. There was a group called Parental Advisory.
That's such a funny way of promoting. Go back and listen. They tried their best.
I actually don't think. I'm trying to remember who they tried to sound like. But Parental Advisory was another group that eventually became Rico Wade and eventually became Dungeon Family and Organized Noise. Yeah. So like the C's were there, but nobody was popping. If you went to an Atlanta party in 1991, which I did in was I in middle school? I think I was in middle school. It was all bass music. It was all booty shake. It was 3 hours of Luther Campbell and Gucci Crew and Splack Pack and all that kind of music. Like it was just we were just booty shaking and yeeking it up.
So
I like that.
When you talk about this this supposed transition, right?
Right.
Is this a music industry that you're picturing sort of like making a collective call?
So the collective call, according to, my brother, and I think there might be something to this, is that it's easy to forget how controversial Public Enemy was at the time. Like they even start off one of their albums with like, oh, I've seen these guys. They open for the Beastie Boys. I was so offended. Like, they've got like the typical white guy caller.
Who is he calling? We don't know.
I bet you Questlove could be like, oh, that was the Robert Downey Jr. show or whatever that is. Like, Robert Downey Jr. There was a guy
Morton
Downey Jr. That is, like he would probably tell you the source, but like there were a lot of people who were like, what Public Enemy's doing is not cool. And listen, there's some lyrics there that are questionable, but what ended up happening was, at least according to some, was this idea that, hey, why don't we, take this in a different direction? Because there was more gatekeeping back then.
In the music industry in general back then. For
quality control reasons and for messaging, like it's just hard for me to believe that they actually just sat down and did it when I know that, riding the band bus, the games, I know what kids were getting excited about. And we were getting excited. There was like a transition around 91, 92 where I don't think P would have fit into it because they were still doing their political message music. Meanwhile, me and my friends are hitting puberty and we wanted to hear Jodeci. We wanted to hear Mary J. Blige's first album. You know what I mean? So there wasn't like a conscious decision I don't think on any of our behalves to start listening to a more party, salacious, let's hook up with girls type music.
I think that's
you can't hook up to a girl to a Public Enemy track.
No,
by the time I get to Arizona
or Diamond or Silk.
Yeah, girl, we're just trying to chill.
Hey, you got to turn that down, man. I'm trying to get some pussy over here.
We were literally telling Public Enemy, let's chill.
Yeah.
We needed something
Chuck
different.
D is bumming me out. I really can't.
I can't vote yet.
Hey, you wish you did.
What I can do?
I'm under 18.
What I can do is finger.
Yeah, I can get some ass.
Yeah. We're going to take a break. We need to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to do some research. I did some research on this conspiracy that I want to throw away. More Diallo Riddle, more My Momma Told Me.
Because I look good.
That is? You
I
look
smell good. I feel good.
And you sing good.
And make love good.
Oh.
I know.
We're back.
We're back.
I know that clip.
Yeah.
I love that clip.
That's one of the greatest interviews I think ever recorded.
Man.
Diallo, we're still talking about this conspiracy that there was somehow a conscious effort to change the music industry. And while there aren't a lot of official records on what this was. One of the conspiracy theories, or rather the root of the conspiracy theory, comes from a supposed meeting of a literal meeting that they had between a bunch of record executives out here in LA. In fact, this originally comes from a supposed letter that got sent to a site called Hip Hop Is Red on April 24th, 2012. Now, in the letter, there's this anonymous source that claims to have been present at a 1991 meeting where a number of music decision makers were all there. It was comprised of 25 to 30 people, equally powerful in the music industry, and they, as well as about 5 attendees who no one knew. Apparently, there were also like shadowy figures who motherfuckers couldn't even place. But we're allowed to.
It's probably just at Pache.
Yeah.
It's just a dark restaurant, shadowy figures. It's just dark in there.
Then they say that this meeting was basically exactly what has always been theorized, that these record executives were buying into public or private prisons. That essentially they had gotten some sweet deal on buying private prisons, and they needed to fill the private prisons. And the movement of X-Clan, of Public Enemy, all these groups was not helping to serve the filling of these private prisons. Thus, they need gangster rap to become the sort of like replacing source.
Well, let me tell you why this does track. There's an artist in an album that I haven't mentioned at all. Ice-T came out with Cop Killer.
Yeah.
Right.
Which was a rock rap hybrid that I feel like very few rap people even listen to.
I hate it.
It's not the greatest music. It's not great music. But it caused such a stir when it came out.
Right.
Like, Fuck the Police had caused some ruckus. Cop Killer just like, it was on the nightly news like all the time, and they started putting labels on music, and that I think that I'm pretty sure that like Warner Brothers had to like release its contract on that album and stuff. It's a very, in terms of censorship, a very important record, and I do believe that it probably came out in 90 or 91. I totally believe that in the light of Cop Killer, in addition to all this X-Clan stuff, there's a lot of cross-pollination with Public Enemy and the Minister Louis Farrakhan at the time. I do believe that they would probably say, you know what? Fuck this. Like we have to start, monitoring what we are releasing to the public.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's ironic that the Chronic, I think two things can be true. I think that meeting could have absolutely taken place, but I also think that Dre is just an incredibly talented person. I think that he had been working and listening with the rap group Above the Law, which, if you guys don't know it, go find the song Black Superman. It's a great song. They were experimenting with using that high synth that everybody associates with G-Funk. He's using the same studio over here on Cahuenga that they're using. So they're listening to each other. And the Chronic came out, I want to say, right before Above the Law dropped their album. So he kind of came out first. And so, because I'll tell you, when the Chronic came out, you knew it was a game changer.
Yeah.
You knew that album it's like Get Rich or Die Trying. There's certain albums when they come out, you're like, oh, it's going to be hard for hip hop to go back to whatever it was but after this album. And
everybody's got to dress like this now.
Oh, yes. I need my shiny suit. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
No,
he came out and I said, I got to get a bulletproof vest.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, exactly. I just think that it's like when Graduation beat whatever 50 album was coming out at that time. After the Chronic, just everything else sounded so old. And to a teenager, a young teenager, things that are 2 years ago are like really old.
Yeah, that's
I do think
that's a sixth of my life ago.
I do think that, to your point, there is sort of like this nasty presumption that the music wasn't evolving and getting better, that it was just like lateral shift to gangster shit instead of it being like, they were for real pushing the art form.
100%.
They just also happen to be talking about a different type of violence or a different perspective on things.
Yeah, and by the way, some of it is just star power. Like when Snoop came into the studio, he was in the studio while they were recording the Chronic every single day.
Right.
They said you couldn't kick Snoop out because he was like, this is my one chance to do anything in life. So
he was like 19, right? He was like a kid. Yeah.
There are other rappers who were supposed to be just as big as Snoop on the Chronic, but like he didn't leave the studio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, Warren G would even be like, hey, we thought, hey, this is cool, but let's go out and do something nice. Snoop was like, I'm here. He was like, I'm just going to record my vocals over and over. I'm going to make sure they sound perfect. And so by the time The Chronic comes out, not only is Dre like sort of peaking in terms of his production prowess, he's got this 6 foot something tall, skinny dude who, you know, is an absolute, you know,
who rides
charisma magnet at that time.
Rides a beat like we've never heard before.
Exactly.
Kind of looks like a Doberman.
Yeah.
and has
We're
been
printing money. I'm going to make $1 billion.
And he and content wise, he's been more influenced by what was going on with N.W.A. than with Public Enemy. All these. There are days, there are songs like The Day the Niggas Took Over. There are attempts to talk about the riots in LA at that time, but it's not a political album in the same way. This is a street life album. And after that, like the East Coast even changes to adapt, you know, so all of a sudden it's not the De La Souls and the Tribes who are doing their own type of militant, you know, sort of pro-black messaging. It becomes like, what is the East Coast version of this? It's Mobb Deep. You know what I'm saying? It's,
Plug
you know,
forward.
we're going to talk about the street life that's going on in our hoods.
Yeah, I as sort of a dorky ass attempt at unpacking this, did a Google search of does rap music lead to violence, which I know is a very cop thing to write into.
Okay, you said it. That's all. That's all. You said it.
What did AI respond with? I'm so curious.
Well, that's the thing. So this in 2006.
Great question.
I found a study. From 2006 from the Prevention Research Center of the Pacific Institute for Research. That's a lot of research and evaluation in Berkeley, California, which suggests young people who listen to rap and hip hop are more likely to abuse alcohol and commit violent acts. Now, one of the key points that they harp on in this study show that increased alcohol consumption related to alcohol's promotion in the songs, right? That like the more you hear about it promoted, the more you're likely to consume it. When Passive Cavassier comes out, Cavassier sees bigger numbers, right? Okay. Now, here's where it gets a little short-sighted for me, is that ultimately, at its best, I think they're saying that alcohol sales overall have gone up simply by doing that, but it's not necessarily addressing the black of it all, right? Right. That's just, this is popular, therefore people are doing it. But that's not talking about black people. That's not necessarily talking about kids specifically. Right. And then in 2002, there was a study that found that black kids statistically actually drink less alcohol despite being exposed to 66% more ads for beer and ale sales and 81% more ads for spirits. That like we are constantly being bombarded with this shit and are not drinking at the same level.
Can I just tell you, when I first got to college, every white kid there had a fake ID. Every single one. Yeah. And most of the black kids did not drink at all.
No.
So I 100% believe that. And look, let's get real. All of the street crimes that, you know, Snoop was trying to sound like a pimp from the 70s. Yeah. Well, there was no gangster rap in the 70s. I reject this idea that all of a sudden, because of gangster rap, that things got more violent. I think that there were things that were already there. They would have been there if we had been listening to the whole the Ohio Players. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. I think that the ball was already in motion.
I think to your earliest point, this is a reflection of the community at large, regardless of what they decide ends up on the radio. You know what I mean? Our neighborhoods legit are looking and experiencing these things. It's not like, oh, suddenly we just started making up.
Yeah, like
because
we saw Dr. Dre.
Or because the music execs were like, hey, you got to be violent now. No, we'll stab each other and kill each other. We're fucking crazy.
But I do think, listen, as much as I don't believe hip hop is to blame, I do think that sometimes you can pour poison on a already weakened plant, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and to a certain extent, I would be lying if I said, you know, some of those guys in my middle school and high school who were listening to Pooh Man did start selling drugs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and like they weren't listening to the hip hop groups that we were listening. So it is. I don't know if it's causal, but I do know that sometimes you can find justification to try some stuff because you're impressionable.
I think certainly there's a lot of shit that I did because I heard a rapper talk about it at some point.
To a certain age, most of the things I thought were cool, that's where it was coming.
I was getting
from.
it from the source of hip hop artists, or in various ways. But I also think,
and it depends on the hip hop artist, though, right? Common had you trying to wear knit hats,
and I also think some of them I was listening to, and I fully was like, I wasn't engaging with Eminem behavior.
No, not at all.
Do you know what I mean? Like I had no intent on putting a woman in a trunk. That wasn't like
I also
the
didn't
energy
think
I was
Eminem,
moving through life
I also
with.
never thought Eminem was cool.
Yeah,
Even
no.
in listening to the music, it was not like.
I thought the music was good. I didn't think it was.
It's always cartoons. To me.
I
He's
never
like
could listen to an
talking in
entire
cartoons.
Eminem album. I could never listen to an Eminem album. I was never like, you know what, I'm gonna pop in the Real Slim Shady CD. Like that was never. I always gave him props. I was like, clearly this man is super talented. He's an amazing rapper, but a little bit like Rage Against the Machine at the time, he was somebody I respected over there. I wasn't gonna pop in the CD and listen to it from start to finish.
I also never liked rap. I never cared. I don't care about the physical skill of it.
Yeah.
Like how people are like he raps in triplicates and shit. That never. That's not like that. That's not good.
I would respect that because like
I get it.
Black Thought of the Roots was like that. Like he would pull off some shit.
Right.
Early Jay-Z would pull off like a not a pun, but like an allegory.
Entendre.
Yeah, exactly.
Triple
Like,
entendres.
they won't get the picture till the wet pin's drawn. I used to
Yeah.
love shit like that. So every now and then.
I was sitting in the back of my dad's Honda Civic listening to Marshall Mathers LP and feeling big feelings. I ain't gonna pretend like I wasn't a big fan. That said, I think ultimately it does presume sort of it not only is reductive to the quality of the art form that got introduced, it also is short-sighted in how much these things that we're adopting as kids, we're picking up for sure, are permanent or just a thing I tried once and then never did again.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
how much of it is just a phase you went through at 15?
I was just figuring myself out, and I would have done that no matter what the music was telling me to do. I just happened to see a dude tell me faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's funny.
We're gonna take one more break, and then we're gonna unpack one more thing, and then get up out of here. All right, more Diallo Riddle, more My Momma Told Me.
Can you lend a nigga a pencil?
Or a pen. We're back.
We're back. Write it down.
Yeah, come on.
You go on, write it down. We
You gotta
back.
write it down. We got good stuff.
Diallo, before we went to break, or while we were on break, you mentioned that you have one other conspiracy. You wanna
Yeah,
run
man.
away.
It concerns a young man who's on your walls here, Michael
Wow.
Jordan, and this is not shade. This is actually in some ways extra respect for those of us who occasionally will have something to drink. It is the idea that the famous flu game,
Yeah, of course.
famous flu game.
Yeah.
Our theory is that man did not have the flu. He was hungover.
I've heard that. I've heard that many times.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Because there are people who claim they saw him out the night before, right?
That's been a big claim, is that he was drinking, that the series was sort of in his hands.
Yeah.
He was feeling
So
good.
he was celebrating early.
He was celebrating a little early and got sick from all that wine and all them carbs and cigar smoke and whatnot.
And sneaking out of the hotel room when Oakley was at the front door.
Yeah, I think when you Michael Jordan, you ain't even really got to sneak that
No,
much.
he walks out the front. What's he gonna? It's my
No,
team.
you haven't heard that story?
Which one?
The one that he was sleeping with Oakley's old lady, and he hears Oakley at the door. So like he goes out over the balcony and scales down
Holy shit.
That's
to the next.
crazy.
Y'all,
The
yeah,
I
idea-
never heard that.
The idea of
I heard that from a very famous rapper who I feel like would not lie about something like that.
the idea that Michael Jordan would be somehow murdered by Charles Oakley and that whole shit gets
It's the only
washed.
person on the team who could have done it.
He would have killed him.
It's the
the only one he's afraid of.
Yeah, it's the only person.
He would have killed him.
He would have killed him.
He would have killed that man dead.
It's the only person who could have taken him out.
4 rings, not 6.
He's like, that's fine. I got what I needed.
I will say, to the flu game of it all, I hear that, right? I hear the idea that he was out drinking. Michael Jordan was a dog in the way that I don't think a hangover beats him like that. I mean, the amount that he would have to consume to have him not able to play at all. And it was still the night before a game. He still knew what was going on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, it feels like too much to me for like.
Well, the argument that he makes, or at
Michael
least
Jordan?
that has been made on Michael Jordan's behalf, is the pizza, right? Is that
Pizza? I don't know this.
they order a pizza at like some odd hour. Michael Jordan asked to order a pizza, and the pizza, in theory, is
I've heard that as well.
Causes food poisoning.
Oh, food poisoning,
which is how he gets sick. Now, pizza late at night,
even non-poison pizza
feels like a drunk ass move.
Yeah,
You're
Let me just
ordering
soak it
pizza
up.
at midnight. You got the midnight ass staff that don't finish cooking the way they're supposed to. They're putting pepperonis on after. Fuck, we forgot.
Yeah,
the dough hasn't fermented at all.
It's just a little wet, and Michael don't notice because his mouth is numb. He's drunk.
All he tastes is tequila.
Yeah,
and Charles Oakley's wife.
Yeah.
I just like the idea of somebody walking into the hotel and you see half naked Michael Jordan scaling down.
Is that? No, I'm drunk. I'm drunk.
Is that his airness? You know, they called him cool names back then. Is that the black cat?
Was that? I know that was the shoe. Were a lot of people saying that?
Calling him the black cat?
Yeah.
That was the nickname he tried to get going.
That's
never really,
what that's always felt like.
Yeah.
Because you know he's bad at naming stuff.
Yeah.
I'm the black cat.
There are little moments in Michael Jordan's career where you get to see that that's just a crazy person. This isn't like this elevated brain. You know what I mean?
This is a
like
tall guy from North Carolina.
He just happened to be so good at basketball, and everything else is a psychopath.
Well, Bashir and I imagine that once we found out there was once I found out there was a Michael Jordan steakhouse.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, he looks like a guy who enjoys a good steak. Me and Bashir don't know this. This is based on no fact. But we imagine at some point a guy, is talking to Michael and he's cutting into his fancy steak. And he's like, Michael, black kids are killing themselves over your sneakers. You got to lower the price. He's like, they're killing each other over my sneakers? They're that good.
The most famous.
And then he just kept the price where it was.
You know what's
what's
crazy
crazy
about the steakhouse too is what was the playlist? Did he curate the playlist for the steakhouse? Because that sucks.
No,
that would be the worst steakhouse ever.
I don't think
it's Kenny Loggins.
I don't think it's Kenny Lattimore.
Well, Kenny Lattimore. No, I wanted to be Kenny Loggins.
That's how he was dancing to Kenny.
Hey, you hear this?
It's
Kenny Lattimore.
It's that new Kenny Lattimore.
One documentary changed the world. It changed
really,
all of our points of view.
Because I studied it. We were inside.
It was the best documentary ever made.
I went drink for drink with him.
Diallo, I think we solved it. I think we did everything we were supposed to do together.
I think we know that there was a vast conspiracy to put, N.W.A. politics at the top. And I think it's safe to say that, Michael Jordan partied too hard.
I think certainly there was an industry working to promote a thing that already existed, and maybe some of those things should have been dealt with in an active way and not just reflecting at not us being angry at the music, but more angry at the systems at large. I think is a fair way of maybe thinking about it.
I think there was a big pushback on the idea. There was a big pushback on this thing that they were all scared of being the next boogeyman, which was reverse racism. You see it in, the reaction to Public Enemy and X-Clan. You see it when Bill Clinton shuts down Sister Soldier on that thing, and then all of a sudden he rockets to the top of the Democratic Party. There's the cop killer controversy. I think everybody was scared of reverse racism. Hence, it does seem to make some sense. But I do also know that we as kids really like that 808 bass.
It felt good.
You wanted to have sex. It's cool, man.
Yeah.
And when Shy did that song without any instrumentation, we all wanted to be in a doo-wop band. So
right.
There you go.
Yeah. If you ever fall in love again.
Oh, no. If. You mean it may not happen?
I don't want to hear Public Enemy with my clothes off.
That's
They
true.
had no makeout songs.
No, not. Come on, man.
Come on.
It's tough to
Flav.
It's tough to. You got to meet kids.
Professor Griff.
You got to meet kids where they're at.
You got to wear.
You got to meet kids where they're at.
Public Enemy is for layers.
Yeah, is for multiple Carhartts.
Yeah,
Is for Timberlands and tall socks.
100%.
Yeah.
Even though Rosie did look great dancing to Public Enemy.
That's her business.
In the beginning, yeah.
That's not how I dress. That's her business.
And I seen her dance to a lot of stuff with that.
Yes.
Same, it was the
With
one
that same
move she
energy.
had. Because you watch the supercut, it's all the same move.
That was my first on-screen kiss as an actor.
Rosie Perez?
Me and Rosie had
Hang it
a
up.
kiss on
You might as well quit
an
acting.
NBC show. I
Bro,
know.
get the fuck out of here.
crazy.
In 2018, because I didn't have any kisses on Marlon. 2018.
I would have put that in your intro.
Yeah.
Me and Rosie shared a smooch on
That's
the
fucking
NBC
crazy.
show Rise. Yep.
Man.
Diallo, tell the people where they can find you, and it better be Rosie Perez Lips.
You can find me at Rosie Fan. You can find me on Instagram at Diallo. It's just 6 letters, Diallo. Yeah, if you find me there, you'll be in touch with me. That's where you can find me.
Follow
You'll
Diallo.
find out everything about one song and anything else that we're going. And by the way, can I just say, for the record, would love to work with you guys on some of our future TV shows.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. That's very sweet. What you got?
You can find me watching Rosie Perez Supercuts. Sometimes I get a little down, need to pick me up. You know what I'm saying? Cool Guy Jokes 87 on Instagram. That's it.
Yeah, you can follow me at Langston Kerman, and hell yeah. Like, subscribe, rate, review, do all the things you do to a podcast to make it succeed. Call us at 844-LIL-MOMS. We would love to hear from you. We think. Send us emails at mymommapod@gmail.com. Most importantly, bye, bitch.
Look at your neighbor and say he's a meat stretcher. He'll stretch your meat. Hallelujah.
My Momma Told Me is a production of Will Ferrell's Big Money Players Network and iHeart Podcasts.
Created and hosted by Langston Kerman.
Co-hosted by David Borey.
Executive produced by Will Ferrell, Hansani, and Olivia Aguilar.
Co-produced by Bay Wang.
Edited and engineered by Justin Connor.
Music by Nick Chambers.
Artwork by Dogon Krieger.
You can now watch episodes of My Momma Told Me on YouTube. Follow at My Momma Told Me and subscribe to our channel.